My friends, I'm glad to welcome you from our video that we shot last winter. Then we made an experiment, putting sets of tracks on cheap ATVs and testing them in the snow. At that time we used only the pre-production 4x4 quad Bison. That was very interesting to us, and not only to us, but also to you, judging by the number of comments on that video asking to take a review of this simple and affordable all-wheel drive quad. And 6 months later, we did it. And now, from this autumn, let's fast forward to the past summer, where I'll tell you all about the new most affordable 4x4 Bison. Let's go! Hi there, as usual it's me, just a voiceover, you are watching Review Machines, and here it is, the newest 4-wheel drive quad Bison Explorer 4x4. You may ask, why is it so interesting to us? It's simple. At the time of shooting this video, this model is the cheapest all-wheel drive ATV on the market. As always, about the prices we'll speak towards the end of the video, and before that we will make thorough and all possible tests of this quad to find out actually is it worth its money or it's just a trash. So it's going to be interesting, my friends. Let's begin. First of all, few words about the exterior. Despite its cheapest, Bison looks solid in my opinion. The design is certainly not breathtaking, but nothing bad can be said. The appearance is pleasant, rather restrained, without any awkward bright features that are often seen in Chinese cheap quads. Oh yes, in fact, the quad is made in China. I think everyone has already guessed that. By the way, guys, please subscribe to our channel, it's very important for us, thank you. The Bison actually is not a small beast. Its dimensions are 2250mm long, 1180mm wide. The seat height is 900mm. This is a double seat squad. As you can see, with my height of almost 190cm, it's spacious to sit here and there is still room for a passenger. The weight of the ATV is 310 kilos. It comes with a good tires, 25-inch diameter. With it, the ground clearance is a decent 310mm. The quad is all-wheel drive. Here we see a classic scheme with a low-gear drive and differential lock. The complete set of necessary off-road options. The transmission modes are controlled by the usual block on the right handlebar. By the way, nothing has been said about the engine yet. And here it is, 300cc 21 horsepower single-cylinder liquid-cooled engine. Let's try it. Well, my friends, I'll show you the rest of the design a bit later, but now I am looking forward to try this thing. So, my very first impressions. I immediately notice a surprisingly good engine thrust. It goes quite swiftly. Not a liter, of course, but for beginners and quiet rides, just alright. And the engine sounds nice, it doesn't irritate with its sound. Again, I will note a comfortable fit. There would be a lot of space on the seat, and the passenger would fit together with me without any problems. The quad is well controlled, although there is no electric power steering. And according to the first impressions, the Bison is not so bad. And until we haven't gone far from the asphalt, let's try the maximum speed. In general, checking the maximum speed on a new vehicle is not right, nevertheless we'll make it. There is a slight slope on the road, so we will look at the result in the both directions. According to the passport, the maximum speed is stayed 80 km per hour. Downhill I managed to reach 71 km per hour. Well, on the hill we see the result 66 km per hour. And now let me show you some more interesting features in the construction. The front and rear end are equipped with trunks made of steel pipes. The headlights at the front and rear are ordinary, but the whole set is provided: low beam, turn signals and stops. The dashboard is electronic, quite simple but with large numbers and visual icon of the transmission mode. There is a parking brake lever on the right, a small glove compartment at the back. Let's pay attention to the mechanical fuel level indicator. Funny but reliable and clear. It's worth noting a full suspension system on double A-shaped levers. At the same time, let's note to the thickness of the drive and suspension pads. It inspires confidence, doesn't it? Suspension with a good travels and quite comfortable. Well, it would be more correct to try it in practice. Let's get started. So our Bison goes into the wild, and now I want to note the excellent work of the suspension. Quite soft with good kinematics, don't get me wrong. I consider it excellent, just taking into account the cheapest price. By the way, it's even adjustable, so you can release it or push it up if you often need to ride with the passenger. I also draw your attention to the fact that the quad unfortunately goes without documents, and it's not allowed to move on public roads. By the way, write in the comments, my friends, before we get to the price conversation, how much do you think the new Bison will cost? Meanwhile, we are going to the forest off-roading. We are heading towards our standard off-roading route, where I want to test our Bison. When you know each obstacle, you can clearly see in comparison how this or that car behaves on them. Meantime, I want to make clear, it's the simplest quad I ever tested, but the main thing is that the price is very low. On the rough terrain as here, we hold the handlebar tightly. Let me remind you, there is no electric steering, and the Bison can kick you up on the hammock. The suspension still behaves well, even on strong terrain, so the quad is pleasing in general. I hope its reliability will not upset its owners, but it's a matter of time. Meanwhile, we are approaching a site with real off-roading terrain, and now it's time for all-wheel drive mode. As you can see, we have a pretty serious dirt here, and the engine surprisingly is still enough here. Yes, we do not tear the ground apart like litter monsters, but the engine doesn't sit down in the mud. There is enough torque in these areas, which is really surprising, because as we remember, there is only 300cc. All-wheel drive works properly, the steering wheel without electric power is filled with weight, and the work of the front wheels is directly felt on the handlebar. By the way, going back to the beginning of this video, if you suddenly didn't watch our winter video, look at how the Bison copes with a set of tracks in the deep snow. That video is very interesting, I will leave the link in the comments. Well, for now, we are watching the Bison struggling in the summer mud. Meanwhile, we reach one of the most interesting obstacles. Even powerful quads with all-wheel drive were getting stuck in this puddle. The deep mud is too swampy here, so we switch on the diff lock. And at the same time, we will check it in action. Let's get started. Probably it's due to relatively small weight of the Bison. All the dirt is less here at this time. But as we can see, the Bison is slowly coping with this obstacle. Very good for the most affordable all-wheel drive. Well, and let's try in the other direction. And finally, it's time for our talk about prices. So the Bison Explorer 320 ATV will cost you about $4,000. Is it really the cheapest on the market? Let me know in the comments. And now let's call it a day, my friends. Thanks for having a ride with us. Please check another our video about other similar ATVs. Stay with us, there will be many more interesting materials here. Goodbye.